Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're going to get started in just a second. This is the 2022 budget address from Mayor Noble, and I'll welcome him to the stage. Thanks.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with all of you. I want to first start by saying thank you. Thank you for coming today. Thank you to all of our city staff that are present. Thank you to our council members that are here. President Schott, Alderwoman Worthington, Alderwoman Hirsch, and Alderman Scott Childress. Thank you all for attending. Before we jump into the presentation today, I actually have a special presentation that I would like to give to an institution that has been here in the city of Kingston for 150 years. And so please bear with me while I read this proclamation. So whereas 150 years ago, Howard Folks founded the Roundout Daily Freeman, the daily newspaper reported on Kingston news as well as the Ulster County region and beyond. Whereas on October 18, 1871, the newspaper declared its intentions, the Roundout Daily Freeman will be firm in its advocacy of freedom, equal rights, and just laws for men, outspoken in its opposition to the abuses and follies of the day, and just laws for all men, and the day in favor of progress and improvement everywhere, and especially devoted to the interests of Roundout and vicinity. And whereas in 1872, the paper changed its name to the Daily Freeman after the two villages of Roundout and Kingston merged to form the city of Kingston, which we'll be celebrating our 150 years next year, the paper would change hands frequently between the years of 1871 and 1891. And whereas in 1891, J. Clock became the new owner of the paper and helped to establish its credibility in the county, Clock's widow, Lucia, would manage the paper until 1966, when it was bought by television producers Mark Goodson and William Todman. And whereas in November of 1974, the Daily Freeman changed its headquarters to the Hurley Avenue in Uptown Kingston and modernized its presses and computerized its typesetting equipment. And whereas we would like to acknowledge the hard work of all of the editors, reporters, photographers, and other staff at the Daily Freeman for their continued commitment to sharing the stories of our community. Now, therefore, I, Stephen T. Noble, Mayor of the City of Kingston, do hereby proclaim October 18th, 2021 as Daily Freeman Day in the City of Kingston in honor of the publication's 150 years of dedicated journalism. And so congratulations to the Daily Freeman. They're joining us remotely today, so we'll have to send them their certificate. So we're going to get started, and I'm excited to be able to talk about our 2022 budget. And first, I wanted to just be able to mention that as part of this effort, we know that we still have a lot of recovery to do. We know that when the pandemic first started, our men and women of Kingston City government were on the front lines. We went out, we did the work, we worked hard. Some days we had to change how we did our work, but we went and delivered food, we went and we delivered masks, we went and made sure that all of our residents were taken care of, and many times to our own peril, because we, even in the beginning of this, didn't know what to expect with the pandemic, but we were out there. And so a lot has happened over the last 18 months, plus we have a lot more recovery to do. And so as part of the work that we're going to be doing together as a city, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest through the American Rescue Plan. This funding, over $17 million, is going to be made available to make sure that our residents have the resources that they need to be successful. This funding can be used from everything from new sewer lines and water lines to being able to make sure that the health impacts of COVID are able to be addressed by city government. It helps support our emergency workers out there in the field and can help cover the revenue losses that the city suffered to then be reinvested back into city government. And so with this, we're really excited to be able to launch a brand new series of public engagement sessions. So coming up on Monday, October 25th, and on Tuesday, October 26th, we're going to be having virtual sessions to be able to hear from the public how they would like to spend this $17 million. We have 5 years to spend it, and so while that may sound like a long time, the planning and disposition of those funds, as well as the actual work, needs to be completed in a timely manner. And so I just really encourage folks to get engaged, to visit our engagekingston.com website, where we'll have all of this information as well as surveys. But this funding is going to be critical to our recovery as we move through the pandemic. Our workers, as you can see in some of these images, are out there on the front lines every day. Everything from leading kayaking tours to doing fire training with our ropes team to working on all of our important infrastructure here in the city. Our workers get the job done. But it's increasingly harder to do that with increasing demands, difficulty finding staff, the low pay that our workers have. And so this budget is really designed to be able to make sure that our staff have the resources that they need, which is going to mean that we're going to be making critical investments in our essential services. And so every department is going to see investments. We've seen that time and time again, in order to make changes, sometimes we have to just go all in. And the changes that we're speaking of today, I believe, are unprecedented investments in public services. And so everything from just our recent finalization of a new contract with our professional firefighters, $2.5 million investment that we're making over the next 5 years, the previous 2 and the next 3, to be able to make sure that our firefighters have the resources that they need. The Common Council just approved a brand new engine for the city, as well as investments in safety and training. We have the best professional fire department in the Hudson Valley. And because of that, those are the types of investments that pay dividends. We also are going to see investments in public works like we've never seen before. We're going to be adding 5 new Department of Public Works staff in this proposed budget. We're going to be making sure that our Public Works Department has the tools and resources that they need, whether it's for plowing the streets, or picking up our refuse and recycling, making sure that our sewer systems are working well, making sure that our staff have the tools that they need, as well as the people power necessary to actually get the job done. We'll be working to make sure that we're doing the community policing that our community is asking for. We've just announced the additional hiring of 3 new police officers. We're starting that process now, and I'm really excited to be able to have those 3 new police officers on the street in 2022, which again is going to help us combat crime. It's going to make our city safer, but it's also going to be able to help build the respect and the dialogue between our residents and our police department. And that's what it's all about, making sure that we're building community one day at a time, one neighborhood at a time, and one conversation at a time. And I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to enter into and finalize contract negotiations with the PBA here in the city. We've set aside funding in our contingency in this proposed budget with the opportunity for us to be able to settle that contract. And so I'm excited to be able to make sure that those resources are there for our police officers. In the Parks and Recreation Department, we'll be adding 4 new staff. 3 of those will be laborers and HMEOs out there actually doing the physical work to be able to make sure that our staff, our parks are as beautiful as our public wants them to be, so that we can provide as many uses as the public wants out of our parks, and to be able to do so without burning out our existing staff who literally are working every day and every weekend to be able to make sure that our parks are accessible, clean, and usable by so many different user groups. And so this is, again, a huge investment in being able to make sure that we have the people to be able to do the work here in the city of Kingston. It's also important for us to be able to get these big projects done that we have been able to secure some amazing grant resources for. We've been able to leverage local resources with federal and state resources to be able to really develop a lot of projects. And so in order to get these projects done, being able to have important programs and important capital projects move forward, you need people. And so this budget proposes 4 new project managers in a variety of different departments to be able to make sure that each of these projects is done in a timely manner, in a way that supports our record-keeping process, our grant-making process, and making sure that we're doing so in a timely manner, and so that our funding agencies are happy with the work and the progress and the timeliness of this. And so looking forward to that effort. And so in culmination, we are going to be proposing 23 new full-time positions in Kingston City government to be able to make sure that we're able to get the job done. And I know I've said that a bunch of times already, but it's really critical for us to be able to investing in people, which helps our community. It provides the ability for us to work in so many different areas. And I think that we will also be able to catch up on all of the deferred maintenance that we have, as well as some of the projects that have just been on the drawing board that we just haven't had that one extra staff person to be able to do. This initiative, we believe, is going to really help. But hiring new positions isn't everything. And so I'm proposing a new retention and recruitment plan for the membership of CSCA. This plan, I believe, is going to be critical in making sure that we keep our highly qualified, high output workers that are here each and every day doing this work, but also attracting new talent. As folks retire or leave to go on to new things, we want to be able to make sure that we are competitive with other public sector employers around this area, other private sector employers in this area, and we want to be able to make sure that we can fill these critical jobs. And I think that raising base wages here in CSCA is critical to doing that. And so I wanted to show you just a couple of examples. For our clerk and bilingual clerk position, currently the starting salary is $36,000. To me, that is not a living wage. You cannot afford an apartment here in Kingston on $36,000 a year. And so we're proposing that level of position, those clerks, those bilingual clerks that we have in our city budget, their starting salary will be $45,000. That's a 24% increase. For our laborers in the Department of Public Works and in the Parks and Recreation Department, starting salary is $37,000. Again, not a living wage. And it's really difficult for us to attract quality talent and, again, not be able to afford to pay the cost of living here in the Hudson Valley and in particular here in the city of Kingston. And so we're proposing a 26% raise for laborers that are here and bringing their salaries up to the $47,500. Looking at the building department, our housing code inspectors. These folks are going into every apartment here in the city of Kingston to make sure that their conditions meet all of our health and safety codes. And currently, again, they make $44,000 and have one of the highest risk, most frontline positions here in city government, and now raising that 17% up to $52,000. Our heavy motor equipment operators. Currently, the Department of Public Works has at least 4 vacancies for our HMEOs. These are the folks who drive our trash trucks, who plow our streets, and are critical to being able to have us deliver the services that our residents need and expect. And so right now, starting salary, $41,000. We're proposing in this budget to have a starting salary of $52,500. That's a 27% increase. We think these are the salaries that are going to retain the quality talent that we have now, as well as continue to attract new talent as folks leave and depart our workforce. And we think that by paying more for our staff, we'll be able to make sure that they're here for our community and that we won't have the staffing shortages that we see now. We won't have the morale issues that we see, because not paying a living wage is just completely against my beliefs, and I think that it's just not the right thing to do. And so by raising everyone's salary, we're going to be able to have a workforce that is more committed to the city of Kingston, that are going to work even harder for our residents, but also will be able to give back more to our community, and will also be able to keep their family afloat during these really difficult financial times. And so I'm really looking forward to having conversations with the Common Council about this retention and recruitment plan. And I want to thank the membership of CSCA for your hard work each and every day. And I hope that this will go a long way in helping to right a lot of wrongs that has happened with CSCA over the years, because unfortunately, as I saw when I was a CSCA member, CSCA is always the first union to get looked at for cuts. It's the union that usually gets the lowest wage increases, and I think now is the time to be able to make those adjustments here in this proposed 2022 budget. And so as we look to the future, we know that we have a lot of rebuilding to do. This is just one example of our Elmendorf Street Bridge that is currently under construction and will be finished by the end of the year. But we have a lot of old, aging infrastructure here in the city of Kingston, and our goal is to be able to continue our unprecedented efforts to make those investments. In 2022, our plans are to finalize and pave the Wilbur Avenue corridor, to be able to move forward and complete the Henry Street Safe Routes to School project, to begin the Franklin Street Complete Street project, to complete the Midtown parking lot repavement green infrastructure project, to begin our Midtown sewer replacement project in Midtown Kingston with multiple sewers being worked on in 2022, to be able to do our Hasbrook CSO reduction planning and implementation efforts down on Murray Street, to do our downtown revitalization improvements to Uptown Kingston at Albany Ave, these are some critical investments that we believe to make. And last but not least, we're going to be going solar on the Andy Murphy Neighborhood Center. And so not only are we going to be able to have renewable energy being generated on one of our largest city buildings, we were able to cut our electricity costs in the 2022 budget for that facility. And so all of those are really exciting capital projects. Again, it's going to keep our staff very busy, but those are not even all. We are undertaking 2 major capital projects next year. One, led by our engineering and wastewater treatment plant departments, $9 million investment in our wastewater treatment plant to be able to meet DEC's new regulations on our pollution discharges at the plant. So this is not only going to bring our plant up to the 21st century, but it's going to make sure that our impacts on the Roundout Creek and the Hudson River and the drinking water systems nearby will be protected for generations to come. But we're also excited, and again want to thank the Common Council for their unanimous support of being able to move forward with our Dietz Stadium improvement project. This $18 million project is going to be transformative to the stadium, to Uptown Kingston, for our community, and again, for the whole another generation of Kingston residents, Kingston athletes are going to be able to use a stadium that is safer, that is resilient, and one that is going to attract a lot more economic activity than our current stadium today. In the proposed 22 budget, we are also proposing $1.5 million of capital equipment, everything from new police vehicles for the police department, to new vehicles for the building department, to a variety of new equipment for the public works department, including a new snowblower, a large snowblower, a new dump truck, a new refuse packer, some equipment for the Parks and Recreation Department for us to be able to better maintain our trails and parks. And we're really excited that these types of investments, as we've proposed, will be able to keep our equipment working so that the staff have safe, efficient, high-quality equipment to use each and every day here in city government. But as we look to the future, we know that there's still more work to be done, and this budget supports a lot of that work. As we move forward into 2022, we'll be completing our police reform 1-year and 5-year plan that we have worked together with our Peaceful Guardians project. This will help guide our efforts on how we can further invest in our police force, in the morale of our police officer, in the training for our police officers, and in making sure that we are building that community trust. As a part of that, and as a part of the efforts, I want to thank the Kingston Police Department and partnering with me and Ulster County to be able to further expand our mobile mental health services. We're coordinating with them right now to build a plan that we hope to provide as part of our ARPA funding initiative this fall and early winter, to be able to make sure that by next spring of 2022, we actually have on-the-ground mental health resources that are far greater than the mental health resources that are currently available to our officers when dealing with constituents here in the city of Kingston that need extra assistance. And so we believe that this will help greatly reduce our mental health police-related calls by developing this fuller partnership with the county and with Access and all of the service providers here that we work in partnership with. Another exciting initiative that we are kicking off right now is our Kingston Forward rezoning initiative. So when you talk about what does Kingston look like over the next decade, 2 decades, 5 decades, it all comes down to zoning. And so we're excited to be able to make sure that this November, the public is engaged in this work. And so I would encourage you to visit our engagekingston.com website, learn about our kickoff meetings, our hands-on stakeholder meetings. We'll be having visioning updates and charrettes and studios happening here and virtually. And so we just really encourage folks to get involved because this literally has the potential to reshape our community. And again, we're really excited that we had the support of our Common Council to be able to help move this initiative forward. And so I want to go through just a few of our budget highlights. And so for the 7th year in a row, our tax rates continue to decline here in the city of Kingston. So you'll see back in 2016 when I first took office, our homeowners here in the city of Kingston paid $10.16 per thousand. And now in 2022, they'll be paying $8.82. And so that is about a $1.34 difference over that time period, which is a 13% reduction in tax rates for our homestead, which is our homeowners here in the city of Kingston. For our commercial property owners, back in 2016, it was $18.31. Now, in 2022, we're proposing $14.11, which is a 22% reduction since 2016. And this is because of the hard work of our city staff, making sure that we're able to keep our tax levy the same. Again, for the 7th year in a row, we are not going to be asking one more penny from our taxpayers here in the city of Kingston. And again, we're able to see these tax rate declines because we're also seeing a lot of people make physical improvements to their buildings. And so when people invest in a community and they make these physical improvements, everyone pays a little bit less. And that really does help those that are struggling here in the city of Kingston who aren't able to as easily pay their taxes, who aren't making these major investments in their properties. They're continuing to see their tax bill from the city of Kingston go down. And so with our budget, there are a couple of major themes. We want to continue to make major investments in city services, and we can do that if we invest in the people of the city of Kingston. We want to make sure that our lowest paid workers are paid a living wage, and that we're able to make sure that our CSEA members can afford to live here in the city of Kingston. And we want to be able to make sure that we make major investments in our capital projects. As we have had continued success in the last few years, we want to be able to continue to move that forward because there is so much work to do. But I believe that our investment in our critical infrastructure is what is going to continue to keep our city strong and vibrant, and to be able to make sure that we're here for the next 150 years. And so coming up, there'll be a variety of meetings related to this budget. I really want to thank the members of the Common Council in advance for their diligence and their work and all of the time that they'll put in to making sure that this budget is the best budget for the city of Kingston. And I would encourage folks to learn about all of these meetings by visiting the City of Kingston website and checking out our meeting calendar, where it will have the information as well as the virtual meeting invites. And to learn more about the budget and to find the full budget, you can visit kingston-ny.gov/budget 2022. And I really just want to end by thanking our Comptroller, John Toohey, and all of your staff. This, as it is with every budget, it is a huge lift for everyone, and I just want to thank you personally for your time and your efforts, and for all of the department heads who worked so hard on their proposed budget. You may not have gotten every single thing that you asked for to serve our residents, but we did our best to be able to make sure that we had a budget that met all of our needs here in the city of Kingston, and is one that our residents could afford. And so with that, I want to thank you all for coming today, and be well.